Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Wednesday, April 1st. Over the last 30 days, we've seen precipitation mainly being targeted over southern and eastern areas of the Great Basin. The areas in blue are much lighter areas of precipitation. Looking at how this relates to normal over the last 30 days, you can see the precipitation has been above normal over the southern areas of the Great Basin along with eastern Utah and eastern Idaho into Wyoming. Other areas further west have seen below normal precipitation. Looking at new snowfall over the last 72 hours, the image on the left, we do have a cold front moving through the Great Basin from north to south today. It did move into northern areas yesterday and brought new snowfall over especially the higher terrain of central Idaho into Wyoming, with lighter amounts so far further south. The snow depth is shown in the image on the right, with snow depth mainly tied to the higher elevations. How this relates to normal for the time of year for April 1st, most of the snowpack is near normal across much of the west into the Great Basin. Some areas of exception are over southern areas of Utah and into parts of the Uinta Mountains, where snowpack is just above normal. And then some lower areas over parts of Nevada, especially into western Nevada and the Sierra, where the snowpack is around 50% of normal. But we will see some improvements as we move through this weekend into early next week. We have no significant concerns for drought across western areas. Even some areas of northern California that were really dry about a month ago have seen some improvements with cold fronts moving through. The satellite image from this morning shows an area of low pressure north over Canada with the cold front again sweeping through the northern half of the Great Basin, and this will continue moving south and east through the area, bringing cooler temperatures, continued windy conditions, and some showers. Looking at the weather pattern as we move later into this afternoon and this evening, the cold front will move through the Great Basin. Again, most of our shower activity will be over the eastern half of the region, with windy conditions over many areas of the Great Basin. And you can see that reflected in the ventilation index with very good dispersion, mostly region-wide. The only exceptions will be over central Idaho into the higher elevations of Wyoming. You can see the transport winds for later this afternoon in the image on the left. Again, the strongest winds are over the southern two-thirds of the Great Basin, where we will see gusty conditions in the 30s and 40s across those areas. High mixing heights region-wide. As we move into Thursday, this cold front will sweep further east. We will see still some windy conditions over the southern half of the region, and we will have another cold front approaching the north, so you may see some showers over parts of central Idaho into Wyoming on Thursday, but otherwise drier conditions further south. Again, those windy conditions will keep dispersion high across many areas of the Great Basin. We will see some lighter winds, however, over parts of northwest Nevada, so we will see lower ventilation indices in that region. Looking at the winds on Thursday, again, winds will still remain breezy across parts of Utah, but not quite as strong as what we're seeing today. And we will see more of a significant drop-off in the winds temporarily on Thursday over Idaho and much of Nevada. Mixing heights, however, will remain high across the region. As we move into Friday, we have another storm system moving in off the west coast. There's that weaker cold front that's sweeping through northern Idaho and Montana that will bring some showers over Idaho on Thursday and into Friday. So we will have one system there, and then again that area of low pressure off the west coast, which will impact the Great Basin for the weekend. Transport winds will still remain somewhat gusty in some areas, so we will see good dispersion over central areas of the Great Basin. However, winds will decrease over eastern Utah and the Arizona Strip, so we will see a decline in those areas temporarily on Friday. So ahead of that next system off the California coast is where winds will start increasing across Nevada on Friday. Most of the wind gusts will be in the 20s to around 30 miles per hour, so not quite as strong as what we're seeing today or yesterday, but winds will be on the rise again on Friday with high mixing heights region-wide. Looking at the forecast clearing index for Utah, for today and tomorrow, clearing indices will remain very high with those gusty to stronger winds. And then on Friday, as we see those winds decrease over southern and eastern areas, we will see the clearing index a decline in those regions, but still remain fairly high over the northern and western half of the state. Forecast amounts of precipitation with these initial cold fronts moving through. Today, just some precip over eastern areas of the Great Basin, nothing overly heavy, mainly showers with possibly some new snowfall in the highest elevations. And then as we move towards the weekend, we will see that next storm moving in, showing the precipitation moving into California. This only goes through Saturday afternoon, so most of the precipitation through Saturday will be light, but we will see an increase. As we go through the day on Saturday, again, that cold front and storm system is still off the coast, so we will only see some showers moving into parts of the north and far western areas. But winds again will be increasing again on Saturday, so we will see good dispersion region-wide. As we move into Sunday, that area of low pressure moves into northern California, so we will see a greater increase in shower activity across the Great Basin, especially Nevada into Idaho and possibly western Utah. We will also see those stronger winds continue, so good dispersion region-wide, but we will have a drop in temperatures and an increase in precipitation. That area of low pressure slides down the western California coast through the weekend into early next week, and we will see that precipitation continue. These storms this weekend into early next week look like they will produce a little bit heavier precipitation than we are seeing this week with these weaker fronts. Again, winds will remain gusty, so we will see good dispersion across the region. And by Tuesday, that area of low pressure starts to push eastward over Southern California, so most of the precipitation by Tuesday next week will be focused over the southern half of the Great Basin. Again, still some gusty winds around this area of low pressure, so good dispersion. This is the precipitation forecast as we move from later on Saturday through Monday. You can see again that increase in precipitation with those storms moving in this weekend and next week, especially in California and into the Sierra, but also some fairly good precip amounts moving into parts of Idaho and Nevada. And as we move through Tuesday and Wednesday, this will slide eastward with the Arizona Strip and Utah, along with southern areas of the Great Basin, seeing a greater increase in precipitation as well. Looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, taking us into the second week of April through about April 14th, shows cooler temperatures across the west along with wetter conditions. So we are going to keep this stormy pattern going through at least the middle of April, if not longer than that, with cold fronts bringing occasional gusty winds and periods of cooler temperatures and showers. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Friday for the latest updates.